2023. What a fucking year for gaming. And it's had its highs and its lows. And let's all take a moment of silence for the seething Spider-Man 2 PlayStation fanboys, whose megabrains can't comprehend a nerdy, turn-based CRPG winning Game of the Year.
We all know what it is. Come on. Tell me.
Baldur's Gate 3.
No! No! It's Spider-Man!
It's Spider-Man! It's Spider-Man!
Bro. Tell me. Tell me right now. Tell me right now. Tell me right now. Tell me right now. Have you ever played Baldur's Gate 3?
Yes.
Have you ever played Baldur's Gate 3?
2023 had a lot of great games released. So let's rank them. I'd like to go ahead and rank my top 10 games from the year of our Lord, 2023. As if I finally reached my goal of being the ultimate authority of video game worthiness. Actually, I have. This is the only top 10 list that is proven fact. It even supersedes the Game Awards. Hell, this even supersedes the President of the United States opinion. Actually, Biden probably doesn't even understand what a video game actually is. He's probably too busy, like, listening to the radio or something. Oh, you hear that, honey? It's they got Puddin' Pop on the radio. He's singing them jams. We probably haven't had this many good releases in one year since 2013, maybe even 2007, which was pretty great because the last few years have been pretty shit. A lot of delays and disruptions due to COVID. Yeah, COVID. You guys remember that global pandemic? Started almost 4 years ago now. Jesus Christ, man. Getting old. Seems that the gaming industry is finally catching up and was able to get a lot done in 2023. Before I dive in, I just want to say that this ranking isn't necessarily just straight off the score I gave or would have gave the game. Sure, personal fun factor is the most important part of assessing a video game in any given moment, but for ranking games in a very generalized manner such as this, I think it's important to also take into account the game's impact on either its genre or the industry as a whole. I like to try and think about what the game's legacy may be, but mostly it's still my personal enjoyment. And time for a self-plug. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below, what are your top games of the year? Was it a good year, or are you upset that your favorite game, Skull Island: Rise of Kong, didn't make my list? And damn, I'll tell you, the final two on this list were so hard for me to rank. I seriously went back and forth multiple times. So please, let me know what you think. So without further ado, let's dive into my top 10 games of 2023, baby.
To your advantage. To mold your followers. And harness the very terrain of your dominion. To strike allegiances and grow stronger through unity. And crush those who rise against you.
All right. Ooh, bad. Voice cracked. All right. Kicking us off is Age of Wonders 4. I will say 2023 was not the best year for grand strategy and 4X releases. With Realms of Ruin and Total War Pharaoh being disappointing, Age of Wonders 4 is the only real strategy game to make my list, which is a big bummer because strategy is one of my favorite genres. And I've mentioned how I can't really get into Paradox games, but Age of Wonders 4 is only published by Paradox and is developed by Triumph. It shares some DNA with the standard historical Paradox games, sure, but with a fantasy setting, much more approachable gameplay systems, and a focus on combat. To me, it is much more digestible than your standard Paradox affair. My only real gripe is that maybe it was just a little light on the amount of content, and it did have a lot of balance issues, as most strategy games do when they first come out. And some of the aspects of combat aren't quite as exciting as I think they intended them to be, but if they add more elements here, I think it will improve. They are quickly patching it up and adding more DLC that should really beef this baby up. I'm sure it's not too popular with your more hardcore Paradox grand strategy fans, being a bit more shallow, but if Paradox games intimidate you or you're looking for something more casual, Age of Wonders 4 is good fun.
Onward and upward.
It's not going to give you the biggest or most immersive world or the most unique or complex gameplay experience, but Super Mario Wonder is going to remind you why we love video games. To just jump around and have some fun, and that enjoying these experiences with others is one way to ruin your friendships.
Focus. Take a breath.
Said focus, take a breath. All right, bud. Oh, go. No.
Okay, I know how to do it.
In all seriousness, Super Mario Wonder does a fantastic job of giving you that just classic Mario experience, while also bringing it into a new age and putting enough elements in here to give real gamers a challenge. Super Mario Wonder really took me by surprise because of just how creative and varied its level design is. Each level essentially has its own gimmick, from racing a rollerblading centipede to everyone's favorite, underwater levels. There really isn't much else here to say. This game is just extremely well made, but it's got that classic Nintendo polish. A new 2D Mario is not exactly what everyone is looking forward to throughout the year, but if you have a friend or two to play with, you're looking for some good nostalgic fun, Super Mario Wonder is where it's at. The remake of the classic Resident Evil 4. This is my first remake on the list, and I don't think they should necessarily be considered for Game of the Year, but for like a top 10 list or whatever have you, I see no problem including them. I'm not like the biggest Resident Evil fan, but I've played Resident Evil 4, 5, 7, 8, or Village, whatever you want to call it. I did skip 6, that shit looked garbage. So I do enjoy the franchise. And if you follow the channel, you know I do love me some survival horror games. And the RE4 remake was just fantastic. They not only yassified it and put one of them nice TikTok filters on there,
What the hell is even that?
but also included a lot of gameplay improvements, such as Ashley no longer being just a useless sack of potatoes, but now she actually has some utility and can fend for herself. And the same kind of goes for the knife. All these improvements were very, very welcomed. This is another game that released just before I started my YouTube journey, so I never got to cover it, but RE4 hits a lot of nostalgic notes for me. And sure, it's goofy, it has its quirks, but that's why we love it. If you're at all a fan of Resident Evil or just this kind of third-person survival action horror, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it.
There are no easy choices. These are dark times. We have few allies.
Good to see you, Gal.
The odds are against us. And they will always be against us.
Yes, Jedi Survivor. This game was tough for me to run. I just had so many technical issues on release, especially the PC version, but I really enjoyed playing it, and I believe the core of the game is really great. I've even tinkered around in it recently, and it has improved since release. Now I love FromSoft games, but I'm always very hesitant on Souls-like as a whole, because due to the difficulty and the repetitive nature of Souls-like, you need to have a very high quality in order to feel worth it. And of course, Jedi Survivor sticks out in this genre mainly due to its fantastic setting. You know, Star Wars. You know the setting is going to be bomb, unless Disney fucks it up.
What are you most afraid of?
Myself.
Because you're a Palpatine.
But it also will surprise you with its challenging and tight combat, while also delivering a real interesting Star Wars story. I'm not like crazy for Star Wars, the new movies suck ass, but I enjoy the originals and prequels. The story here is actually kind of good, and it goes in some interesting directions. It's just hard to find anything that didn't really work outside of just the abysmal performance, which did really drag it down, but it's a great game.
I'm trapped here. In this nightmare. I write to escape. Every word is a step forward. Into darkness.
Alan Wake 2. I seem to not really enjoy this game quite as much as other people did, especially the critics. Seems like everyone was slobbing on Alan Wake's knob, which is fine. And don't get me wrong, I thought it was great. The things that Alan Wake 2 does to tell you its story are not only very well executed, but are unique and interesting and really pushes the envelope on video games as an art form and a medium. Even if I did find Saga's story a bit lacking compared to Alan's, the way the game splits the two and the contrast and relationship between them is mwah. It's so sweet, it's good, great. It's all very art house, and to watch its story unfold is a treat. And I did enjoy the combat when it was there. There was just some parts that were a bit too slow for me. I also think that Alan Wake 2 did like to sniff its own farts a bit, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes it just beats you over the head a bit too much with its deep existential themes. Everyone seemed to be completely enamored with it, and I was worried that Alan Wake 2 would win Game of the Year. And I know I'm saying all this stuff, it's a good game. Not that it wasn't necessarily deserving, but there are a few games that were far better in my opinion. Regardless, it's a great game, and if something more artistic or slow burn is your thing, then definitely check it out.
In light of your unique situation, joining us as a 5th year, we've devised something extraordinary to ensure your success. A lot to absorb on your first day.
Can't believe I'm here. Professor Weasley has asked that your professors give you instruction outside of the ordinary curriculum.
You have much to learn.
I can already see people dragging me for this ranking, but hey, here we go. You have to look at a game and think, what's it trying to accomplish? What's it trying to give you or make you feel or think? Hogwarts Legacy sought to create an immersive and fun and thorough dive into the Harry Potter world like we have never seen before. And with these goals in mind, it absolutely crushed it. Yes, it has some AAA Ubisoft-esque video game bloat, and that's what sort of holds it back from truly being a classic for me. But I do love Harry Potter, and playing this game was just so much fun for me. To explore Hogwarts and all the surrounding areas you see in the movies, this is the preeminent Harry Potter video game. I'm surprised it was ignored at the Video Game Awards with a very mainstream appeal. Actually, I'm not. I'm sure that has something to do with the controversy around She Who Must Not Be Named, J.K. Rowling. I think it's okay to separate people from their art a little bit. The developers of Hogwarts Legacy don't share her opinions. But alas, Hogwarts Legacy was great in a lot of ways, albeit a bit overbloated and eye-rolling in some, and they could have easily fucked this game up, but they did not. How do you not just love zooming around on your broomstick around Hogwarts Castle? That's pretty sick. I think it's deserving of a high ranking here. All right, top 4. We are getting into some real good shit now, baby. Starting us out is the Dead Space remake. Let's fucking go. A lot of good survival horror games this year, huh? Although 2 were remakes. Anywho, the original Dead Space is one of my personal favorites and a horror classic. And playing through this remake was just, an absolute treat. Mwah. And honestly, this was kind of the remake that no one was asking for. My expectations were kind of low. I honestly expected them to just slap on some newish graphics and call it good. My only minor gripe is that I wish they had done just a bit more different, because what they did here was fantastic. For one, the graphics they did slap on are absolutely beautiful. Or should I say, grotesque.
Oh my God!
Which is very important for horror. The changes to the map and level design allow us to actually explore and backtrack new content. The zero gravity sections are much more interesting and prominent. Even Isaac is fully voiced now, which I for sure thought they'd fuck that up. But damn, EA Motive actually pulled it off. And this game is just so terrifying and doo-doo pants inducing and just everything we want out of a survival horror. I love the original Dead Space series, and damn does this remake do it honor. Please, Motive, make a Dead Space 2 remake. That one was my favorite of the franchise, and I'd just be such a happy boy.
Can you hear me? I hope this reaches you. This city is falling apart. Chaos, madness, death. And there might be no going back. But you can change that. It depends on the choice you make. Truth or lie.
All right, Lies of P, baby. Remember how I said I love FromSoft games, but I'm hesitant on the Souls-like genre as a whole? Well, it's largely because you can't just do it as good as FromSoft. You can't. And with Lies of P, I had heard about it and honestly originally had written it off. A Souls-like game where you play as Pinocchio, like the puppet. Okay, bud, that already sounds like a cheap ripoff. But damn, was I wrong. This is actually the game I'm currently playing and will probably be my next full review. If I knew nothing and you told me this was a FromSoft game, I would believe you. They straight up mixed and matched from FromSoft's greatest hits and created an excellent Souls-like experience. If not the best Souls-like that's not FromSoft experience. And my only very few minor gripes with the game is, well, I guess it is a bit derivative. Just kind of conflicting, right? Sometimes I think while playing Lies of P, like, is this legal? Even down to the UI and the hub world just screams FromSoft. Are they gonna get sued? This developer came out of nowhere too. I'm not saying they didn't do anything to give Lies of P its identity, because what it does with its weapons and its story and setting does set it apart from FromSoft titles. But in the end, Lies of P doesn't really do anything too crazy to shake up the Souls-like formula. I want to say a lot more, but I'm not going to say too much because I'll save that for my full review. Self-plug, make sure to subscribe and check it out when it drops. Lies of P is just fantastic and well-made game, so definitely check it out. But it didn't quite rock the gaming industry like the final two here on my list, so because of that, it's going to sit nicely at 3. Oh lordy, lordy, lordy. This was so hard for me to put at my number 2 because I just loved playing it so much. I love number 1 as well, but Tears of the Kingdom was probably my personal favorite. If you couldn't tell, I like Zelda. Yeah, I like Zelda. See it up there? I've played pretty much every one since the Ocarina of Time. It is just such an iconic video game franchise. I think there's a sense of grace and beauty and mystery that Zelda always brings to the table, and is consistent while also trying all these new things. And Tears of the Kingdom was the Breath of the Wild 2 that we dreamed of. It was bigger, much bigger, and better with more of Hyrule to see and experience. But there's a few small things that I think makes Tears of the Kingdom less impactful than our number 1. It simply felt like a crazy big expansion to Breath of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild 1.5, rather than a true sequel. Most of the land map was the same, with some minor changes here and there. And the story progression with the 4 races and temples, although better in my opinion than the 4 divine beasts, mirrored too closely to how you progress through Breath of the Wild. Also, Tears of the Kingdom is just severely limited by the Switch's capabilities. And I always wonder what could have been if Nintendo had a more powerful console. But on the flip side of that, it's insane what Tears of the Kingdom manages to pull off on the Switch. It's stunning and beautiful and awe-inspiring. Seamlessly diving and moving between the 3-layered map never gets old. I couldn't wait to hop off the Sky Islands or dive down into the depths. And the physics engine and building system they've created here is just unmatched. No. Am I missing something? Am I missing something here? How do I get on top of it without it getting away from me? Oh. Put it right at me. Oh, okay, that works. If you'd have told me a year ago that the next Zelda game you can build complex mech suits and the game would be used to teach a college engineering class, I would have guessed, what shit are you on, because I need me some of that. Tears of the Kingdom is one of the best Zelda games, nay, one of the best games of all time and an instant classic.
Why have you come here? We must all cure ourselves of the entire cult of the Absolute. We've traced people like you. People with parasites in their brains. All the way here from Baldur's Gate. You may just be the godsend we've been praying for.
Alright, you guessed it. Here we are at Baldur's Gate 3, baby. Sorry again, Spider-Man PlayStation fanboys. Baldur's Gate 3 does what a lot of great pieces of art do. It takes a medium and genre and brings it into mainstream focus and appeal. It exposes the masses to something new and, most importantly, something great and nearly flawless. And for the gatekeepers out there, relax. I know there's a lot of them when it comes to Baldur's Gate and CRPGs. It's childish, and video games should be enjoyed by whoever wants to enjoy them. And if you're worried about your video game or universe or whatever being watered down, then make sure that the people who are making these games and handling your universe are making them for the right reasons. Don't come after the people that are enjoying the content. Anyway, getting a bit off topic there. When I reviewed BG3, I struggled to find anything wrong with it. The only thing I could point to was that there was a slight drop in quality in Act 3, in my opinion. And Larian Studios actually acknowledged this and has addressed it and has planned more in the near future. Regardless of my thoughts, the impact that Baldur's Gate 3 and the legacy it will have is undeniable. And for good reason. It's everything a great RPG should be, and then a lot more. The combat, story, writing, graphics, performance, music, everything about it is fantastic or perfect. And no, I'm not saying this because you can decide what kind of genitalia you want. Oh, I have to pick my genital. I'm gonna go penis. I don't know if I should be showing this on stream. I'm gonna go with penis B. No, penis C. No, you get to pick. You pick your penis.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm straight up. If you go to edit character on the left, you get to change your appearance. And one of the options is your genitals. Baldur's Gate 3 is just the new standard for RPGs, and I hope developers are shivering in their boots. There's honestly not much to say. It's just a fantastic game. Everything about it is great. It's more story focused, so of course you kind of have to be into that thing. It's not going to have the most high octane combat because it is turn based, but it will get your pulse up. Come on, baby. Let's go. Let's go. So yes, the Game Awards actually got it right, which shocked me. I definitely thought something with a bit more mainstream appeal would take it, but alas, there isn't much to say. It's just the best RPG to come out since maybe The Witcher 3, which I think Baldur's Gate 3 might be better. I highly recommend everyone go check out Baldur's 3. It was tough for me to decide between this and Tears of the Kingdom, but in the end, I do think Baldur's Gate 3 slightly edges it out, mainly from a technical standpoint. And big congrats to Larian Studios, and I'm happy to see Baldur's Gate 3 get the recognition it deserves. Gold star. So yep, that's it. My top 10 games of 2023. I may have had Spider-Man 2 on here if I actually played it, and it looks pretty sweet. Maybe one day I'll be able to own the gaming Triforce and the PC, Switch, PlayStation, and really be able to enjoy everything that the industry has to offer. But until then, it's just PC and Switch, baby. Friends, if you like this video, please remember to subscribe. That really helps the channel out. I'm very much looking forward to continuing my gaming addiction through 2024 and releasing YouTube videos about it where we can all discuss. And 2024 doesn't look quite as good as 2023, but gaming release dates change like my underpants while playing Dead Space, so you never know where we can be surprised. With that, Happy New Year, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.